Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to Fair Face Fail Productions. So today we're out in Montrose, Colorado, in Peach Valley OHV area. Finally doing some riding out in the Adobes and a little bit of single track, and honestly, just a kind of a crazy ride for me. I think for myself, this was probably one of the hardest rides that I've had personally in a long time. And I don't just mean the difficulty of the terrain, because I don't believe that it was necessarily that hard. It was just mentally and physically. I just had a really bad day. I really just was struggling with the bike in a lot of ways, struggling with myself, and I'm just going to talk about the things that I really struggle with in dirt biking, and maybe some of those things will help you out, and maybe you'll recognize some of this in yourself. I think my biggest personal flaw with riding and dirt biking in general is that I have an extreme fear of heights. I really do, and I don't, I've never known exactly how to deal with it. I've faced that in a lot of ways, riding things like Captain Jacks and some other things. But the Adobes were a whole new ball game for me, because you're on a knife edge on the top of this little sand dune thing, and either side's a pretty good drop off, and some of these hills are pretty insane. So I really struggled getting up onto the top of those, committing to accelerating up them, from vertigo to wanting to throw up to I just really had a struggle there personally. Now I want to go back. I want to try again, because I feel like I really truthfully did that bad. I do have to give a huge shout out to Meeker Extreme. Yeah, Mark, my business partner, he really did an awesome job of kind of pushing me and keeping me going in a lot of ways, and then also kind of respecting that I got to a point where I was pretty burnt out. That's a good thing to have in a riding partner, that they can recognize that you're pretty much done. And I know that kind of sucks, because his abilities, I think, are far beyond mine these days. I just don't ride enough. But we'll get to that in a second. The next personal issue or biggest thing that I really have wrong with riding is I just I don't get out enough to ride. I've really kind of struggled with that, I think, with the last couple of years, to where I just haven't got out to develop my skills as much as I've needed to. A lot of that comes from at work, I mean, we all have jobs, we all have things to do, and sometimes it's really a big struggle to get out and constantly ride. When you start to ride harder trails and things, it requires practice. It requires doing it repetitively, and being a little bit more in that mindset, and that sometimes is a really big struggle for me, just because I can go, a lot of times it goes 3, 4, weeks to 2 months between rides, and then you get complacent, you lose skills, you're more out of shape than you want to be for the riding that you want to do. And that's a personal thing. I see it myself. I know that I need to ride more. I need to develop those skills. And sometimes it's hard to get out and ride with some friends when you haven't been for months, and your buddies have been riding 3-4 times a week. You're not going to be able to keep up. You're going to be dropping bikes more. Sometimes that's in the back of my mind, and it makes it harder to get out. Historically speaking, I've also always been a really slow learner. I think that's another factor that I've always struggled with new things, new terrain. When it comes to riding, generally I really struggle with having to we go to new type of stuff. I really just am usually kind of overwhelmed. I don't do very well at first. And historically, in my military career and everything else, I've always been a slow learner. I'm a fail to learn kind of person. Honestly, when we went out here, I kind of expected it, which is maybe a bad mindset going in. But you look at it in everything that I've done in my life, I struggle, because usually I have to fail every way possible. I shouldn't have hit that hill that way. I needed to be, wide open in second gear at least, or hey, I needed to have my weight back more, or hey, I needed to be standing up, or whatever it may be. I have to pretty much crash and fail in every way possible to learn those lessons. And sometimes that's just rough, especially when you're going out with other people. But at the same time, I really feel like going on this ride, struggling the way that I did, I felt like I learned a lot. I felt like there's an opportunity to come back here and do even better. A lot of times in this sport, you can feel overwhelmed and you can feel like things are going really bad and that, maybe you suck so bad that you should just quit. And I've been there probably several times over the years. Dirt biking has been one of those things that it's been a stressor for multiple reasons. Of course, it's caused injuries in the past that have affected my military career or could have, and then there are other times that it just takes a lot of time. Sometimes when you're concentrating on it away from your family, so there has to be a balance there. There has to be some other things, but I think the big thing in those stressors is. For me, when it comes to affecting my livelihood, there was a lot of reasons why I wanted to quit. When the military is threatening you, hey, if you injure yourself, you tear your ACL again, or maybe tearing your ACL could possibly end your career because it affects your health that much. There's a lot of reasons why you may want to quit doing this kind of riding, or dirt biking in general. So I decided not to. I decided that in my life it was something that I enjoyed, I'm passionate about. Of course, now we have dirt bike rentals and everything else. So I've really come to love this sport, the community, and everybody around it. So it was coming to terms with some of that stuff over the years that is a struggle. And, once again, military a lot of times will take me away or I work too much to where I can't ride. But I definitely always look forward to coming back. I think my biggest advice, if you're struggling with riding and you're not sure if you want to quit or not, is to find a mentor. Reach out to your local riding groups or whatever, and go out and ride. Even if you're introverted, suffer through it, and find somebody that is going to help you. That seems to care a little bit more, and reach out to that person and ride with them more. Somebody who's willing to be patient with you and who's willing to take you out on rides and not judge you for being crappy at one thing or dropping your bike a lot. That goes a long way towards developing your skills. I know Meeker Extreme, for example, he's been a great role model for me over the years, probably close to 10 years now, of getting up ledges or struggling up steep adobes, whatever we're riding here. It's invaluable to have the proper kind of mentorship, if you will, when it comes to riding. That goes a long way because it also means that you're not alone. Everybody, I think, has gone through a phase where they feel like they suck or they fall a lot or whatever, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with those things, and that's important if you feel that way to try something different, do something new with somebody else. I do want to note that before we came out here to Montrose, a local shop had recommended, I wanted, the Rieju had been rented a number of times, and the stock tires were pretty much shot. So I figured, we'll just take it to the shop, we'll have them, local guys, slap on a new set of tires. And I was like, hey, whatever you guys recommend, because we were going out to Moab and see. I hadn't really thought about us riding the adobes in Montrose. I just really kind of was concentrating on Moab. I was excited for Moab, and so they ended up slapping on some Sedonas, some hybrid tread, whatever. I'll throw up whatever they threw on there, but they are hard as a rock. I think I was running them with like 4 psi, and they still felt like they were 20 pounds in that rear tire. But we struggled with tires, and I really thought it was me at first going up these adobes. It is not the tire for this kind of soft PD type stuff. It just really did not hook up at all. And I really thought it was just me because, 9 times out of 10, I'm not picky about tires. And I'll run K270s, I'll run whatever, Trackmaster 2s, not my favorite. But, I don't usually complain too much. I just was like, man, what's going on? And then after, some of this footage you'll see, Meeker Extreme will hop on and plow up a hill, trying to help me out because I've failed 2 or 3 times and I'm exhausted. He's like, oh my God, this tire is horrendous. We can't, it doesn't hook up, and he's wide open on the Rieju in second or third gear, and he still can't get up stuff any better than really I'm doing. He eventually gets the bike up simply just because he's far more skilled than I am. But so sometimes proper tires for your terrain matter. I think the Sedona did okay And I think I didn't mind it out in Moab, but it definitely did not do great in the Montrose area. And that's okay. I think struggling with tires sometimes can make you a better rider, but maybe when you're going out to ride a specific area, hey, check and make sure your tires are going to be at least a somewhat decent fit, or maybe they're in good, that they're in good condition too. That can help you out. I think I definitely didn't help myself with the tire choice, but that being said, we'll probably run them on there until renters kill it. So I had a shitty day. I really did, and that's okay. I think in the world of any sport, you're going to have good days and bad days. And thinking back on it, I survived the day. I had a good friend to push me through and get me to the end. And I would like to say that we got a pretty restful night, but the weather actually got really bad. It's hard to tell in some of this video. I'm probably going to cut the audio pretty down low, but the wind was horrendous. Was another problem that we experienced on top of the Adobes. It was just, there were some points the wind was so bad that it was blowing you off, and I fell at one point where I couldn't even hardly pick the bike back up because the wind was so bad. I just was flabbergasted. I don't know if I've ever experienced wind shear against the bike so bad that I couldn't even hold it up anymore. But later that night it got even worse too. We stayed in the parking lot in my RV. But it was an adventure and we had fun, and I would like to go back out there and try again. Maybe put some tires on there that will placebo affect my ability to get up those hills. I don't know. But I really want to get back out there and try again. I felt like I need to not feel defeated next time and be able to get up some of those hills. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I had kind of an interesting time going through this footage because some of it's just embarrassing. There are times I look at some of this and I'm embarrassed. But it's good to show you guys that, hey, you know what? It's okay to suck. Because if you don't suck, you're never going to get better. If you're not gonna continually try, if you're not gonna recognize what your mistakes and faults are, you're never gonna progress. As a person and in the sport. So I'm okay throwing this out here, and hopefully you guys get some enjoyment out of it. And somebody's inevitably, oh, you suck, you need to stand up more, you whatever. You're right, I do, and that's okay. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Fared Face out.